Hey guys, Mel the Train Tutor here again with another tutorial for you. And in this one, what we're going to be doing is looking at how to texture walls on our buildings. Now, as you can see from this is a quick build that we've been working on in this playlist. And as you can see, I've already textured it. So you're saying, well, Mel, what are you doing? Well, basically, guys, this sort of texturing is really easy to do, the base texturing. It's just a matter of putting your PVA down, sprinkling your glue and rocks on, and then sealing it with PVA after. And I've also run PVA, watered down PVA, over all of these bits as well, all the exposed foam. Now, if you've never done anything like that before, check out my Back to Basics video on texturing. I'll throw a link up and I'll put it in the description for you because it's all explained there along with common problems and little tips and stuff like that. Yeah, just in case you don't know. But if you do know, you should know how to do this, guys, so I shouldn't have to show you. But what I'm actually interested in is texturing the walls. Now, one of the problems with buildings is the lack of texture for dry brushing and painting to grip to add that realism. And so what we do is we texture our walls, and we do this in a number of different ways. There's a few ways I'm going to throw you through this playlist and the various different buildings, but two ways that I'm going to show you sort of one after the other is in this video we're going to look at how to add texture walls with grit and watered down PVA. And then in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to make textured paint. Now, I may say, Mel, but what's the point in like doing PVA and grit and all that sort of stuff if you can just mix it in with the paint? Well, the benefit of actually putting it on with watered down PVA and a brush and the technique we're going to use is that straight afterwards you can spray paint it with an aerosol can or an airbrush, and when it comes to spraying this sort of stuff, as long as it's sealed, it's fine, guys. So it's a very quick way of getting them done, okay, which saves actually brushing them. So that's what I'm going to show you, and I'm just going to show you. Now, you may say, so am I going to do it on this? Well, no, I'm not going to do it on this because I want to do the textured paint on this one. So I'm going to put this to the side and bring in our original box. You see the difference, guys? Do you know what I mean? A little bit of effort, and why would you build these when these are just 5-10 minutes longer with a few more cheap materials? You know what I mean, guys? Right, so anyway, let's get back to the tutorial now. This is a dead easy one. So I've got my basic box build, and what I want to do is I want to add a texture to these walls right here, that one and that one. Okay, so what have I got? Well, I have Gale Force 9's Very Fine Grit. And the reason I'm using Gale Force 9's Very Fine Grit is my normal grit is a mixed grit, okay, with lots of different rocks in. And what I want to do is I want to use the finest grit I've got, okay, for this project. So I'm using their small stuff. Next up, watered down PVA. And I made this in my watered down PVA sealant tutorial something. Go check the Back to Basics, it's probably in there. Probably my very first video. A Back to Basics guide of PVA. Who knew there was so much to know? But anyway, guys, watered down PVA, I water mine down at a 50-50 mix. Okay, bit of tissue, a damp rag to clean it up, cup of water for washing my brush, and a couple of old art brushes. Now, these are my scenery brushes, and these are specifically my sort of, PVA and wash and paint ones, I don't treat them that well, to be perfectly honest, but they're in good nick, and they're good for this job. Now, this process will knacker up good, model brushes, but the sort of cheap ones you can get from like your B&M and your dollar stores and your pound shops, these are fine, absolutely fine, okay? So what we're going to do, well, actually the process is dead simple. What we're going to do is we're going to open the lid of a tub very carefully so we don't get covered in PVA. Get it, dip our brush in and scrape off the excess. Okay, the reason we're scraping off the excess is because I don't want to flood the model, I just want to get it wet. And then all I'm going to do is dab it in my grit. Yeah, I really did do that. Get my piece. Oh, I need a bit more PVA on there. Yeah, and just start painting it on. Now, the beauty of this stuff is while it's wet, Yeah, you can just move it around wherever you want. And don't worry about it on the brush and all that sort of stuff. You can move it around, get just the right texture you want. So a bit more PVA. Ooh, don't clump on me. Yeah, if it does clump, just drag it out, guys. Yeah, it's easy to do. And as you can see, mine's clumping up a bit. It is messy, obviously, but you can see the texture going on really quick. And remember, yeah, once you've actually done this, you can just spray paint it to get it finished off. Yeah, and remember, this is just PVA. This is just your standard hobby grit. Yeah, so there's no reason why you don't have these materials, guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, a bit more over here. Make that clump up. Make that clump up. A bit more there. Clean that off a bit. Oh, that's a bit bulky. Break those up a bit. Put a bit more there. Yeah, clean up those edges a little. Yeah, just quickly just run some over there so you can see. Yeah, and there you have it. Textured, guys. And seriously, it's textured. You know? Now, the good stuff about this, and I'll show you in a little while, is that when it dries, yeah, it's secure enough to spray paint or paint carefully. Okay, it won't take harsh dry brushing without having another layer of paint over it, whether it's a spray or whether it's whether it's an emulsion or model paint. Okay, but if you put too much on and you want to thin it out, you can just rub it with your fingers once it's dry. Okay, now this amount of thin PVA, all it's doing is it's sealing the foam, it's sealing the cardboard. It won't cause it to warp because it's braced. Okay, and what I'm going to do now very quickly is I'm just going to carry on and I'm going to just texture up the other wall. Yeah, so I'll probably fast forward this or skip ahead, but let me crack on. Right, guys, there you have it. One texture building. Now, if you notice, I've put less of a texture on the inside walls. I've just done a little smattering on those compared. I've put quite a bit of texture onto the floors. And then one other little thing I can do while I'm here is literally just grab a pinch. Yeah, and you can see what I'm doing. And all I'm going to do is just sort of drop this. And I could use mixed grits for this, but this is what I've got to hand right now. So I'll just show you the technique. And if you do use mixed grit, exactly the same. Yeah, and then we'll put a couple of patches there. Yeah, but you might say, but Mel, that isn't properly wet. No, not yet. But it will be. Yeah, so as you can see, loads of grit in there. Okay, obviously lots of watered down PVA as expected. I just want to very quickly just do inside here as well, and then we'll leave it to dry and you can see what it looks like when it's dry. So very quickly, come on, didn't want this to drag on, to be truthful. And there you have the finished piece, guys. Now all I've got to do is just leave that to dry. Now when it comes to washing out your brushes, because obviously you've had PVA, you've had grit in it, okay, just keep it, as long as you don't leave it to dry, yeah, just a good wash. And look at that. Okay, there's one or two bits still in there. I'll just give it another quick wash. Oh! Remember, if you re-wet PVA when it dries, so, you know, I'm expecting this brush to dry hard, yeah, and then I'll just re-wet it when I'm ready to use it and it'll go soft again. So if there are any tiny little bits, they'll come out next time. Yeah, I'm not concerned at all. It does contaminate your It does contaminate your watered down PVA a bit. Okay, as you can see, but that's not a problem for me because I use this for sealing grit, so not a problem. Obviously, if you've made like a gallon of watered down PVA and it's purely for sealing flock, then don't mix gravel in with it, guys. Yeah, so we'll come back in a minute and we'll see it dry, guys. See you in a minute. So it's 95% dry now. So if I just spin it round, you can see all that clumping, and it's just a little gluey with the big clumps, and that's because I've just used a hairdryer to speed it up. Okay, but it's quite a good texture. Now, if you notice, I've gone a little bit thinner on the, on the inside, but I've sort of overdone it at the top here, these couple of streaks. Yeah, so I need to thin those down a bit, and it is just a matter of coming along and rubbing it off. Yeah, and you thin them down like that. It is really simple, and you can carry on. I mean, I don't like little sort of clumps around the edges, so you can just go along and just flick them off. Yeah, now this is all stuck hard enough, yeah, to be sprayed. Okay, obviously when you paint them and you work with them, you will lose the odd bit of grip, as with any bit of texturing, but that is ready to be spray painted or gently painted with a brush. Yeah, but it's quick and easy, and it's dead simple. Yeah, and there's a lot of control over it. You know, while it's wet, you can easily mess it around and sort out what you need to sort out. Yeah, get the look right, and then leave it to dry, and then when it dries, bang on, ready for spraying. Now, I'm actually sort of wishing I'd done it on this one and saved this one for the painted, the textured paint. So anyway, that is a very easy texturing with PVA and grit. Okay, we're going to move on in the next video, and we'll look at texturing with textured paint on this one. Yeah, but in the meantime, I'll leave you with a little bit of texturing. So guys, if you've liked the video, yeah, as always, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, new to my videos, and you want to see more terrain stuff, click subscribe, guys. That's down there as well. And well, basically, if you've got anything to add to this, any comments, any questions, throw them in the comments, guys. In the meantime, I've got a few more bits and bobs. I want to clean this one up a little bit more, and then I've got to prep this for painting it with textured paint. So I'll see you soon, guys. All the best. Ta-da.